Chapter 66, Wife Deceives Parents Too. In the afternoon, Fang Hao performs acupuncture on Zhang Jun, and then Lu Jing invites him for dinner. Fang Hao initially considers accepting, but his wife calls, saying she has a social engagement in the evening and can't come home to cook. She requests him to take care of their child and preferably make boneless chicken for the child. Did she have enough fun last night and now wants to meet her lover again? Does she need satisfaction from her lover so soon? Fang Hao feels a deep pain, contemplating his wife's lack of self-respect for that despicable person. He declines the dinner invitation, and when it's time to finish work, he goes home. First, he picks up his mother-in-law from the university and then heads home. Upon returning home, Fang Hao finds that his wife has sent WeChat pictures. She is still at the office, dining with the chairman. When they start eating, she sends pictures from a restaurant, assuring him she is genuinely having dinner. Why tell me these things? Do I have the energy to track you and catch you with your lover now? Fang Hao finds it amusing, though somewhat comforting. He understands his wife is trying to appease him, but the fact that she maintains contact with her lover still disgusts him. Daddy, Mommy said the one with glasses isn't my new daddy. I don't like that person. During dinner, Tian suddenly says this, catching Fang Hao off guard. The one with glasses? Could it be Zhang Quan? Fang Hao is somewhat bewildered. Although he discovered Zhang Quan isn't Jia Jia's biological father, hearing his son say this suggests his wife has some connection with Zhang Quan. His mother-in-law senses something is amiss and asks, "What new daddy?" Tian quickly responds, "Daddy said Mommy found a new daddy for me." Jia retorts, "I don't want a new daddy. I want this daddy." She points at Fang Hao, forever standing on his side. She even grabs Tian's utensils and says, "This was made by my daddy. If you want a new daddy, go find your new daddy." Tian also holds onto his bowl, saying, "This was made by my daddy. I don't like a new daddy. Don't argue. Eat well, and no talking." Fang Hao is stern, but seeing his mother-in-law's critical gaze, which scrutinizes him like an enemy, he quickly adds, "Mom, the kids are just playing around." His mother-in-law snorts but loses her appetite. Even though Fang Hao's boneless chicken is creative, challenging, and delicious, it doesn't taste good now. During their last conversation in the car, Fang Hao asked her if she would support her daughter's divorce if she found someone better. Now her son-in-law talks about a new daddy, indicating he might have discovered his wife's new love. His daughter is exceptionally beautiful, in her mid-20s, the prime of a woman's life. She is a high-ranking financial director with a very tempting salary and drives a decent car. Such a daughter would be a desirable partner for many. She might succumb to temptations, and her mother rarely cares about her daughter's life, especially her private life. If she hadn't fallen ill, she wouldn't even come over and stay with her daughter. She has little knowledge of how her daughter has lived over the past 4 years of marriage. She assumed her daughter led a quiet and dutiful life. But during her recent stay here, she noticed her daughter not calling or messaging for several days when she was on a business trip. When her daughter returned from the trip, she frequently went out. Through occasional conversations with neighbors and her children's remarks, she learned that her daughter often sent the children to the neighbors and went out. She disapproves of her daughter's lifestyle and approach, particularly concerning family. From her son-in-law's attitude, it's possible her daughter has already cheated on him. Professor Yufan is a highly intelligent woman, a mathematics professor with a high IQ. She doesn't ponder on these matters often, not because she can't but because she doesn't want to. She calls her friend Sue and says, "Sue, finish your work there immediately and come back. Don't ask why, just come back. If you don't come back soon, this family will collapse." Suddenly feeling heartache, she lies down on the bed and takes a sublingual tablet. After a moment, she manages to endure it. Hearing Fang Hao calling the children to take a bath, Lu Jing comes out. She sees the children playing in the water, while Fang Hao is looking at his phone, seemingly chatting with their daughter. "Fang Hao, let's talk for a moment." Fang Hao says to slow down while driving, then puts down his phone and looks at his mother-in-law. He says, "Mom, your complexion doesn't look good. Have you fallen ill again? Tomorrow, I'll take you to the hospital for a comprehensive checkup. My health is none of your concern. My project is progressing quickly, and I'll be fine if I take a break. You're a good doctor, but I know my own body. Fang Hao, tell me honestly, is there a problem between you and Xiaoro? Have you let her down, or has she let you down? Do you have to get a divorce? Mom, why are you suddenly asking about this? Fang Hao is somewhat surprised. Although mom doesn't like to meddle in your affairs, mom isn't foolish. Don't treat me like a fool. Tell me, who is at fault between you two? Your daughter has let me down. On our wedding night, she was fooling around with her lover right beside me, putting a cuckold's hat on me. Your daughter is the most despicable woman. Fang Hao wants to blurt out these words, but he realizes that saying such things would likely give his mother-in-law a heart attack, and the consequences would be unimaginable. From his mother-in-law's current tone and behavior, and considering the past few days, it seems that she doesn't know about her daughter's affair. There is no deception of 4 years. His mother-in-law is also deceived by her daughter. He says, "Mom, Xiaoro didn't let me down." Afraid that his mother-in-law might misunderstand, he quickly adds, "I didn't let Xiaoro down either." His mother-in-law frowns and says, "Then? I don't understand. Why did you talk to the children about divorce and a new daddy? That's problematic." "Mom, there's no problem with that. Xiaoro. In fact, Xiaoro deceived you. 4 years ago, before she married me, I had feelings for her. Before the wedding, we didn't have any improper relationship. What she told you about ruining my child is not true. This child, she just likes you so much, and you're both doing well now, kind of a slap in the face to us old folks. In fact, we didn't oppose it that much at the time. After all, our daughter is grown up, and sooner or later, she'll get married. Leaving her, there would be a grudge. Your dad and I are open-minded people." His mother-in-law is speechless. Although she suspected at the time, thinking that her son-in-law was handsome and her daughter beautiful, both being adults, it was reasonable to have a relationship. But now, hearing her son-in-law's words, it seems that it was her daughter's idea. What a daughter, even deceiving her parents. Nonsense, she just wanted to hide from the old man and the old man's eyes. She was afraid of exposure, so she found me, a scapegoat. Otherwise, at that time, I had nothing. Even if people pursued her, it was unsuccessful. As I was about to graduate, one after another started chasing me. It wasn't my luck, it was just because I came from a rural area and was naive. Fang Hao wants to counterattack in this way, but he refrains from provoking his mother-in-law. He says, "Mom, ask you a question. Before meeting me, did Xiaoro have someone she liked, or someone she admired?" Chapter 67, Carrying Prejudice. "Mom, did Xiaoro have someone she liked or admired before she met me?" Hearing her son-in-law's question, the mother-in-law thought for a moment and said, "It's not clear. Your dad and I never thought she would be the kind of girl who would fall in love and get married. After all, she's been smart since she was a child, with high standards, and her circle of friends has always been girls. She had no interaction with boys. You're the first boy she brought home. Suddenly saying you two were getting married caught us off guard. That old man, could he be her mentor, her female friend's father, uncle, or family friend?" Fang Hao thinks that these are the possible candidates, but he can't investigate. If he asks, it's very likely to be exposed, and that could lead to a scandal. The children are calling from inside. Fang Hao goes in to take care of their dressing and asks them to go back to their room to play. He comes back to his mother-in-law and continues, "Mom, I think Xiaoro has always had someone she likes, and they've been in contact for these 4 years. Xiaoro's heart isn't with me, and I'm holding her back." "Oh, if you say it like that, have you found something?" "Of course, that scumbag is Jia Jia's biological father. It happened on the night of my wedding. That scumbag and Su Ro had their first night right beside me, humiliating me thoroughly. To cover up, your daughter then took advantage of me while I was drunk. Unexpectedly, this left a huge handle. She gave birth to twins, each with a different father. It's a tragedy, heartbreaking." Fang Hao thinks it's absurd just thinking about it. He says, "Whether there's evidence or not is not important. The key is that it's a fact. Mom, to be honest, over these years, have you and Dad ever looked at me with a straight eye?" The mother-in-law frowns and says, "Before, there was indeed a bias in our perception of you, but now, through your efforts, you've proven yourself to be a capable person. Fang Hao, if you feel inferior like this, I can get you a different job. Don't be a doctor anymore. You can go work with your aunt, help her manage a company. After you gain experience in system management, your aunt will support you in starting your own business. With a company and money, you won't think this way anymore. Mom, I've been studying medicine for 10 years. I do have some talent in this field. If I switch to a new industry, I'll have to start from scratch, and it'll take another 10 years to familiarize myself. Besides, starting a business is too risky, with a high chance of failure. Even if it succeeds, would you really look up to me then? Mom, have you and Dad really respected the big bosses you've been trying to impress over the years? I'm afraid you would give them the impression of being unskilled and lazy. We won't discuss this issue. Let's talk about you and Xiao Rou. If what you say about Xiao Rou is true, are you going to get a divorce? Have these years been in vain for you too? Mom, I don't know how to answer that because it's Xiao Rou's issue. If she comes back and tells me that she doesn't love me anymore, that she has someone better than me, and she wants to leave me, what should I do? As for me, I now have temporary prescription rights and a temporary lecturer qualification because I'm pursuing a PhD. I'm at the age with the strongest academic abilities. When I'm no longer useful, will my mentor and the hospital leaders still value me? My current annual salary may not even be equal to Xiao Rou's year-end bonus, or even her monthly salary. I come from a rural background. Who would look up to me? So, my problem isn't whether I like Xiao Rou or not. At this moment, Fang Hao's phone rings. He says, "See, I'm needed at the hospital tonight. When Xiao Rou comes back, let her take care of the children, and I'll go to the hospital." The mother-in-law looks serious and doesn't say much. She feels that she's going to be heartbroken again. Fang Hao could tell and said, "Mom, if you trust me, I can give you acupuncture to alleviate your pain." Okay. His mother-in-law didn't want to talk, perhaps she wanted to test her son-in-law's medical skills, so she agreed to let him perform acupuncture. Back in the room, she lay on the bed and observed as her son-in-law quickly inserted the needles. There was a faint tingling sensation, indicating that the acupuncture was taking effect. "Fang Hao, you still have the skill." His mother-in-law praised him. "I learned it from the old folks in the village, just experimenting on my own." "Mom, your lumbar vertebrae. After you finish your research, you really need to take good care of yourself." Fang Hao took his mother-in-law's hand, placed it on the bed, and began to examine her pulse. "You can read pulses too?" His mother-in-law asked again, looking at her son-in-law, thinking that he was a treasure. He could cook, manage household chores, take care of the children, provide medical care, and he was quite handsome. Unfortunately, as he mentioned earlier, with his rural background, these outstanding qualities would be like bright lights hidden in hard soil, and even if they were excavated, they might be despised as just a clod of earth. All learned from the elderly in the village. I also self-taught some. "Mom, you really need to retire soon and rest. Don't sit continuously for more than 2 hours a day. If you really need to work, take a break and move around every hour. Tomorrow, I'll bring you some traditional Chinese medicine to regulate your body, okay? Traditional Chinese medicine is too bitter, I won't take it. Good medicine tastes bitter. I won't take Chinese medicine even if I die." Fang Hao was speechless and decided not to argue. He won't be responsible for his mother-in-law's attitude towards Chinese medicine, especially considering the divorce with his wife. That was no longer his concern. He set a time, then went to the study. He quickly contacted the person who commissioned the article last time, discussed a topic, agreed on a price, and tonight he would start writing a ghostwritten paper. The other party paid an advance of 2,000 yuan. If the quality was good, the remaining 13,000 would be paid. Over 10,000 yuan for writing a ghostwritten paper astonished Fang Hao. He thought he was dreaming. Even if they offered him 800, he would have started writing. This time, the other party provided him with a pile of materials and asked him to choose a topic from them. He didn't dare to be careless, thoroughly checked the materials, organized a framework, and tried to make the data look reasonable. Even if it was exposed later, there wouldn't be any academic disputes. It shouldn't have a severe impact on the client. Thinking about this, Fang Hao felt that he might be too kind. However, he had to be cautious. He didn't know the identity of the client, and the fact that they were willing to spend over 10,000 suggested they were serious about it. If he messed up, and the client demanded a refund or worse, there could be serious consequences. After that, he helped his mother-in-law remove the needles. Seeing her improved complexion, he breathed a sigh of relief. Regardless of whose mother-in-law she ultimately was, at the moment, she was his patient, and he couldn't carry any bias. He then went back to write the paper. After an hour, he finished the last word, sent the document to the client, and closed the QQ window just as his wife walked in. She noticed him closing something and her heart skipped a beat. Is he checking on me again? Did he find out something? Chapter 68, Wife's Greed. A shocked expression flickered across the wife's face. She squinted her eyes, approached Fang Hao from behind, wrapped her arms around him, and nuzzled her face against her husband's. In a soft voice, she said, "Honey, I didn't drink. Smell it, I really didn't. It's okay to have a drink. Didn't you used to book a room and rest when you got drunk before coming back?" The wife was slightly stunned. She didn't expect her husband to say this. She glanced at the screen and saw that he had closed a QQ window. She thought, could he be a detective? Is he tracking me? Did he report my whereabouts after I returned? Maybe it's related to what happened at the drinking gathering. With these thoughts in mind, she felt uneasy. Although her dinner went smoothly, she wasn't afraid of being tracked. However, the fact that her husband traced it back to the bed and breakfast made her very uneasy. She walked around to the front, sat on her husband's lap, embraced his neck, kissed him, and said, "I missed you so much today. Don't be silly. I have to go to the hospital. The director's husband just finished surgery, and I need to track the treatment progress. Give me 20 minutes, it will be quick." Ignoring her husband's words, she quickly loosened his belt and went straight to work. Fang Hao frowned. His wife was unusually proactive, but he had no interest because her proficiency indicated her skillfulness with a lover. "Really, your mom is at home, you know? I've locked the door." Su-ro pushed the boss's chair, then knelt down and continued her endeavors. At this point, Fang Hao couldn't resist any longer, and passion erupted. He had conflicting feelings. On one hand, this woman was unfaithful, dirty, and despicable. On the other hand, she was his beloved wife of 4 years, and her newfound initiative gave him a sense of freshness. He couldn't help but be passionate. However, he didn't like being passive, nor did he like seeing his wife's face. He wanted her to turn around and support herself on the desk as he approached from behind. His mother-in-law wanted to talk to her daughter. Knowing that her daughter had returned, she went to find her. Not finding her in the master bedroom, she walked toward the bedroom. Just by the door, she heard moans coming from inside and understood what was happening. Blushing, she thought, the kids haven't even gone to bed yet, and they're so impatient. "Fang Hao, is what you told me earlier still an issue? The world of young people is beyond comprehension." She sighed silently, left without disturbing the young couple's intimacy. After a while, she saw the bedroom door open, and her daughter came over to bid her good night. It was already 11:30, and more than an hour had passed since the young couple had been in the study. Her daughter had taken a bath, her jet black hair slightly damp, and she was wearing a nightgown with spaghetti straps. She was young and beautiful, inheriting her mother's most stunning features and even surpassing her in youth. She signaled her daughter to come over and said, "Let's chat." "Is Fang Hao at home?" "No, he's not. He'll be staying at the hospital tonight. If he comes back, it will be at dawn. What do you want to talk about?" Su-ro found it a bit strange. Glancing at the bedside table, she noticed a box of acupuncture needles. Curious, she asked, "Mom, are these Fang Hao's? Why didn't he take them?" "Oh, he said to leave them here. After dinner, I mentioned feeling a bit tired, so he gave me acupuncture. I felt much better and more energetic. Otherwise, I would usually get sleepy while reading. This boy, Fang Hao, has some talent." Her mother casually remarked, avoiding discussing the painful matters. "Mom, it's rare for you to praise him." "Hee hee." Su-ro chuckled, feeling sweet in her heart. Her mother immediately said, "Yes, I rarely praise people, but today I have to give him credit. He did well, capable in both internal and external matters. Although I'm not satisfied with his salary, he has a bright future, especially with his medical skills." "Oh, I praise him, but whether he's good or not, it depends on what you think. Is he good?" "Good." Su-ro had just been satisfied by her husband's enthusiasm. From his passionate performance, she felt loved and cherished. Pretending. "What do you think is good about him?" "Everything." "Do you think he treats you well?" "He treats me well. He does everything for me, so I don't have to do anything. Isn't that great? But in reality, after dinner just now, I talked to him. Combined with what he said every day, I feel that there's something wrong with you." "What? What's wrong with me?" "You have someone you like outside, someone you like more than Fang Hao." "Mom, what nonsense are you talking about? I can't possibly like anyone other than Fang Hao. I only like Fang Hao." Su-ro said, her heart in turmoil, in conflict. Unconsciously, she found herself comparing him and Fang Hao in her mind. Seeing her daughter suddenly agitated, her mother said, "You don't need to tell me this. I just mentioned it, and after hearing Fang Hao say you have someone you like, and that you want to find a new dad for him every day, I couldn't help but think more. Xiao, although your father and I are not high-ranking officials, we still care about our reputation. When you and Fang Hao were together, we were often teased, but Fang Hao was your choice, so we didn't say anything. We told everyone that you truly loved each other. But if you cause trouble for us now, embarrass us, you..." Suddenly, she felt her heart being pulled, very painful. She slowed down and said, "You have to take care of yourself." "Mom, I understand. I love Fang Hao. I've never thought about leaving him. Mom, Fang Hao and I are doing well, very well, with no problems at all. You should rest." Suro turned and left. Her mother didn't follow her, but endured the pain, slowing down for quite some time before leaving. The wife returned to the bedroom, her heart in chaos. The satisfaction brought by the intimacy with her husband just now turned out to be an illusory happiness. Once her husband left, this kind of happiness would be completely gone. Although her mother's words were correct, she preferred him. It was a psychological dependence, but her husband's youth and vigor, as well as his meticulous care in life, brought her another kind of satisfaction. Her husband satisfied her physical needs, especially in the recent period. After her husband's roughness, she found herself more unable to do without him. As long as her husband was at home, she couldn't help but want to be with him. She was only 26 or 27 years old, the most mature and beautiful time for her body. She needed the opposite sex, and that, not even 1% of her husband's abilities. She needed her husband. But that, gave her a psychological dependence. Ding ding. Her phone received a WeChat friend request, and seeing that it was Elephant Nose, she hesitated for a moment. In the end, she clicked to accept the friend request. With an excited mood, she told herself, "I want him too, my young husband too. Suro, you can do it. You can handle both." Elephant Nose, "Come, touch it, let me see." Wife, tired. Just finished. Old pervert, won't chat with you anymore. My husband is checking on me. I'll find you when it's safe. Old pervert, moi. She logged out, deleted the friend, and cleared the chat history. Chapter 69, Ill-gotten gains flow like water. Hospital. After checking Zhang Jun's condition and taking his pulse twice, Fang Hao performed acupuncture on him and let Zhang Jun rest. He and Lu Jing went to the office. Lu Jing poured water for Fang Hao, then remembered something and showed Fang Hao the late dean's will and other documents. After looking at them, Fang Hao said, "The surgical incision is starting to heal, and the pulmonary edema is improving. Everything is moving towards that 1 in a million chance. You should give him some confidence." Lu Jing breathed a sigh of relief. The more she looked at Fang Hao, the more she liked him. She said, "Thank you so much. You know, the person who saved my husband has been around me for the past 2 years, but I didn't realize it. It's all my fault." She felt that 2 years ago, her husband's condition wasn't so severe. If Fang Hao had treated him back then, it might not have become so serious today. Today, after Fang Hao successfully performed the surgery, her husband's condition improved miraculously. Fang Hao said, "It's not like that. During this time, you and Master have done a lot of research. If I didn't see these research findings, I wouldn't know how to proceed. The way to save a life is your persistence and efforts. Director, you and Master are people I admire, and you are the one I admire the most." "Don't say that, I'm not that good." Lu Jing felt a bit embarrassed when Fang Hao said that, and her face turned warm and red. Fang Hao happened to catch a glimpse of it and couldn't help but feel a bit dazed. He found that Lu Jing was still very beautiful. Her beauty was different from his wife's. His wife was beautiful in every way, with perfect features that combined to form a perfect woman. On the other hand, Lu Jing had a beautiful figure and a pretty face. Because she was in her 40s and had been worrying for the past 2 years, she had some crow's feet at the corners of her eyes. However, the whole person exuded maturity and kindness. "Damn, this is my leader. I dare to think randomly. I don't want to live?" He quickly changed the topic and said, "The dean adjusted my plan a bit, and it's a bit more conservative now. But there shouldn't be any major problems." Lu Jing said, "I also noticed that it's a bit different. I wanted to ask you about it. Since there's no big problem, then I can rest assured." "Director, it's late. You should go rest." Fang Hao was still thinking about talking to the intermediary of the gun-for-hire writer and the principal of the shooter later. He sent Lu Jing away first. He took out his laptop, logged in, and found that the intermediary said he had read the paper and praised the high level, but the principal wasn't online, probably asleep. He would give him an answer tomorrow, and there shouldn't be any problem. Is the way to make money hidden in this? Fang Hao tentatively asked the other party. If there were similar tasks for big sponsors, the intermediary should consider him first, because he needed money now. The intermediary was very happy and quickly said that there were many tasks. They had a large industry chain, but recently, there had been a wave of academic fraud in universities and the academic community. Coupled with the poor quality of the shooters, many problems arose. Someone with Fang Hao's level of skill, who could write as if it were real, was extremely rare. The intermediary wanted to make Fang Hao a core ace writer and cultivate him vigorously. Fang Hao was not impressed, but he didn't expect the intermediary to ask him how much money he needed. If it was 1 or 200,000, the intermediary was willing to advance it. Fang Hao was speechless. This intermediary was too good at handling people. He was still calm because this kind of gun-for-hire writer, once exposed, he would also have problems. He might even lose his doctoral degree. It seems that I also need to change the way I talk to this intermediary. He had to let his heated head cool down, find a reason, and then exit the chat with the other party. Compared to this kind of unscrupulous money, he preferred to publish articles openly, get money from traffic generated by searches, citations, and references. Early in the morning, around 4 or 5 o'clock, someone knocked on the door. When the door opened, it was Lu Jing who came in. Lu Jing held breakfast in her hands and glanced around the office and at Fang Hao with surprise and concern. She said, "You haven't rested? Have you been writing papers?" The small bed on the side was still folded, and the desk had several printed papers and some advanced medical books that had been flipped through. This indicated that Fang Hao had been studying. "I slept, just woke up," Fang Hao replied. In reality, Fang Hao hadn't slept. Last night, he wrote another draft and, feeling inspired, began working on formal research papers. Inspired by the surgery on Zhang Jun, Fang Hao developed 3 preliminary research ideas, resulting in 3 papers. These papers needed master's guidance to ensure there were no professional issues before Fang Hao could publish them. Alternatively, he needed master's resources to facilitate publication. Otherwise, as a young man, submitting manuscripts directly to the editor wouldn't guarantee priority consideration or publication. However, Master was different, his articles had a priority status. Lu Jing was somewhat skeptical, but seeing Fang Hao in high spirits and considering his strong, healthy physique, she didn't say much. She placed the breakfast aside and said, "This is for you. Eat, and then you can go home. There's no need to rush for the morning shift. Before 11 will be fine." "Director, where did you buy this? Didn't you rest?" Fang Hao asked, noticing that the breakfast didn't seem to be from around the hospital. "I just came from home. My younger sister wanted to eat, and I thought you were here, so I bought an extra portion for you. Then let me pay you." "Forget it. Who are you pretending to be poor for?" Lu Jing rolled her eyes at Fang Hao and walked away. Fang Hao smiled awkwardly, thinking that the director probably wouldn't care about a few bucks, especially since he had performed surgery on her husband and also provided acupuncture. Around 6 o'clock, he saw an email from Master and replied. Soon after, Master called to inform Fang Hao that he wouldn't be coming to the hospital today. Instead, he would be visiting relatives. Fang Hao needed to assist in checking the patients. After hanging up, Fang Hao soon received a somewhat probing expression from his wife. He frowned, then called her to explain that he couldn't return home immediately. He needed to finish checking the patients before leaving the hospital. He asked her to take care of their child and take his mother-in-law to work. Master had treated many patients, and Fang Hao had compiled the data. Therefore, he was well aware of the progress of the patients' treatments. During the rounds, apart from a few with exceptional circumstances, such as secretly smoking or consuming things they were advised against, leading to relapses or treatment pauses, most obedient patients had recovered well. After checking the patients, Fang Hao headed straight home. Upon opening the door, he was surprised to find that his wife hadn't gone to work. Even more surprising, she was actively seeking intimacy. "Husband, I missed you." Fang Hao was dumbfounded, and in his mind, he quickly imagined his wife behaving the same way with a lover. It was a disgusting image, but he couldn't control his own impulses. Oh well, experience it before the divorce. After all, in 4 years, he hadn't received such services. Chapter 70, Wife's Possessiveness. After the passionate encounter, Fang Hao lay on the bed, watching his wife as she groomed herself after a shower. She looked radiant and even more beautiful. Unfortunately, this woman's heart belongs to someone else, not me. Fang Hao felt an inexplicable pain in his heart. His wife turned her head and said, "Husband, what's wrong? Wasn't I good enough for you just now? But I have to go to work. I'll be good to you when I come back tonight. Be a good boy, okay?" Earlier, Fang Hao had asked, and his wife had found an excuse to delay going to the company, intending to wait for his return to spend some intimate time together. He asked, earlier, "You never did this for me before, and you didn't want to. Why now? What's wrong? Did you do something to hurt me and now want to make amends?" He knew his wife had discovered the surveillance cameras, so he decided to directly confront her suspicions. His wife paused in her hair-combing motion, then put down the comb and pressed against Fang Hao, kissing his forehead. She said, "I only love you, my husband. I haven't done anything to hurt you. Husband, if you don't believe me, I can prove it to you with my life." "Prove it with your life? If that's the case, then go ahead and die, let me see." Fang Hao sneered inwardly, especially when he looked into his wife's clear eyes, which showed no signs of panic or remorse. He knew she was a woman who wouldn't shed a tear until she saw the coffin, or perhaps, she still had a natural sense of superiority. "You haven't hurt me? If I tell you that I know your secret, you'll be socially ruined. Forget it, divorcing you at this moment could leave me with nothing. I'll endure for now." Fang Hao embraced his wife's waist, enjoying the softness of her body. He said, "You're very beautiful, like a bright moon in the sky, attracting the attention of many. I know many people envy me, wishing to label me or take my place. I also know there's a gap between us. My annual salary is not even comparable to your monthly income. Suro, I don't insist that you love me, but you should respect me in matters of the heart. If you find someone better, just tell me, and I'll let go. If you secretly cheat on me, I'll be very angry, and I don't know what I might do." His wife hesitated for a moment, feeling unexpectedly nervous. Fang Hao's words, was this an early warning? She twisted her heart and wasn't sure what Fang Hao knew. She subconsciously said, "I only love you, my husband. You're the most handsome. I won't allow you to betray me. What if I betray you? I don't know what I would do. Would you kick me out, or would you kill me? Husband, did you betray me? A few days ago, there was an opportunity. Your friend Chen Mei invited me for a drink. Zhang Quan got drunk, and Chen Mei asked me to help him get home. At their place, Chen Mei tried to seduce me. I had been drinking, and it was a bit difficult to control myself. I almost went too far, but in the end, I restrained myself. That was the most dangerous moment. What about you in these 4 years? You've had many opportunities to go out for drinks. Have you encountered any problems?" Fang Hao felt he hadn't done anything to betray his wife, so he wasn't afraid to speak. "No. I haven't. I only have you as my man. I only love you." "Oh, why is Chen Mei like that? She's too much." Humph. While saying this, his wife hugged Fang Hao even tighter, thinking of that night when Fang Hao returned home, and they made love. From Fang Hao's performance, it seemed he had endured for a long time. It was true that he had been tempted, and the fact that he wasn't successfully seduced was evident. I've already figured you out. I just don't know who that jerk is. I can't take revenge on him, which is frustrating. So, I won't expose you for now. I wish you would voluntarily confess and tell me the reason, but now it seems you have no intention of doing so." Fang Hao lightly patted his wife's buttocks and said, "You should go to work. I'll rest for a while." "Okay, rest, husband. I'll buy you something delicious for lunch when I come back." "That's settled. Love you, my wonderful husband." His wife said this, glanced at the time, quickly got dressed, and affectionately bid farewell to Fang Hao before leaving. "Suro, if you didn't cheat, if you truly loved me like this, how wonderful it would be." Fang Hao knew his wife was putting on an act, yet he still felt incredibly sweet and happy. For 4 years, until the revelation of the paternity test results with Yue Xia, he had wholeheartedly loved his wife. She was the one he truly liked, the woman he had entrusted his heart and soul to. His genuine feelings were all for her. For 4 years, he had given everything he could to his wife with a grateful love. Now, before the divorce, he needed to receive the same kind of love from his wife. Getting his wife's love and then divorcing her might also be a form of retaliation. Why am I so despicable? No, this is what a vile person deserves. Fang Hao's heart was filled with mixed emotions. However, Fang Hao was unaware that his wife didn't go to work. Instead, following the night she investigated the guest house and traced the route from the old car's dashcam, she visited a neighborhood. This was Aunt Sun's neighborhood. My husband parked here, what is he doing? He shouldn't know anyone here. Could he be going to Aunt Sun's house? She lingered for a moment and then set out for the outskirts, arriving at a guest house across the street. Without a doubt, her husband had tracked down to this point, indicating a certain level of suspicion. I didn't leave any evidence here, and the name on the ID isn't mine. I won't admit to it. Besides, I've already booked the plane ticket for that day. My husband won't check my boarding records with the airline, he's not capable of that. If I don't admit it, my husband won't have any evidence, and he won't be able to prove anything. Yes, I won't admit it, I'll never admit it. My husband loves me, even if he suspects, it only shows that he cares about me. As long as I didn't leave any evidence, he won't know. Sunsini? I treated you so well, and you, behind my back, investigated me with my husband? What are you really after? Sunsini, do you think I'm easy to bully just because I'm good to you? In the company, you are under me, you are mine. By betraying me like this, how can I keep you? Husband, do you really think Sunsini can find out about me? I'm not that stupid. Husband, I love you. I won't leave you now, I won't let go. Husband, you're handsome, both inside and out. You are versatile, and even the child can't live without you. Husband, you're amazing, you satisfy me, and I can't live without you. Husband, I absolutely won't let you find out about me. I won't let you leave me. Suro, you're the best.